Hello, Gail. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I'm recognizing it's a bit cloudy out there, so it's lovely to have little lights around me that
Oh,
add to
yes.
the glow when the outside is not as glowy, seemingly. So, what comfort we have to add light to our life when we need it.
Oh, that's true. I have what is it? It's called a happy light, but it's the light that makes you like the sun,
Yeah.
makes you feel good
Oh, nice.
in my massage room, and it really makes a difference. When I first got down there, I don't have any windows in the room,
Oh, okay.
and it's very hot,
Mm-hmm.
and I was finding that when I was working, and my people are getting very relaxed, and you can hear their breathing change, and it's getting very
Mm-hmm.
restful. I found my head bobbing, so I thought, well, I better do something here to make myself become aware of that I'm supposed to be awake, not
Mm,
them.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it really is a valuable source of um, energy that
Yeah,
helps you stay energized.
it's fascinating. You remind me of profound experiencing um, experiences that I had through my hospice volunteer work.
Mm.
I often requested and luckily got assigned to patients who didn't want to chat. They wanted quiet and just a presence there. And if they got fidgety, it was so interesting to accept the energy that they needed at that moment and then just kind of breathe
Mm.
into that moment with them and then to notice how the whole energy in the room started to ease. And often they would kind of doze off and I would kind of this head bobbing, but I noticed I would almost go into a meditative space of
Yes.
being there when they needed me, but other than that, just holding this quiet stillness,
Mm.
seemingly stillness. There was lots going on,
Of course.
which is, going ons don't always have to be noisy. And to make room for these going ons, particularly for patients who otherwise had quite a bit of um, activity around them, nurses coming in, LNAs coming in, visitors coming in, and it allowed a time of respite, not just for the patient, but also for me.
Yes.
A shared kind of respite where we were just breathing into that beingness, which I really became so aware is a huge part of letting go of the physical. It's it's like unwinding a spool of thread,
Yes.
and there is no hurrying this. Some people might think, why does that have to be done that way? But it is an unwinding of the life path and reviewing every inch. And it's beyond our time understanding. For some, people who have been in, for example, a car accident and kind of saw their life flashing in front of their eyes, it can be in an instant that these unwindings are happening, or it can take days, weeks, months. But it is an essential process from what I've witnessed to close a physical chapter of beingness. And if we hurry through that, if we don't allow for that process, it actually, from my humble observation, seems to add to the aggravation or fidgetiness or unhappiness of the dying, and often then creates unhappiness for everybody else around. I also found the same thing in working with patients with dementia
Mm.
who are needing the holding space for them in this physical world while they are retreating from that physical world,
Oh my
and to give them that anchor, that that rope back into the physical as it's needed, but not judge them for almost like submerging under and releasing everything that is overload. And when you allow yourself, I was lucky in the sense, I felt fortunate in the sense that as a non-medical staff or volunteer or just witness, I did not have to rush into the making things happen mode. My job was to be a presence. And taking it a step further, the effect that presence with a patient has not just on the patient and their families, but also the staff members who are trying to make life happen as it needs to be maintained around them, who feel the relief of that respite of not being torn between, well, I should clean the kitchen counters, but this person really needs somebody to sit with them right now. And to know there is somebody there so I can focus on, making rounds or whatever, the person's job was. So you mentioned this natural light in your treatment room and how we hold light, not just for the patient / client / neighbor / loved one, but also for ourselves. That was so profound when you shared not just the effect that it had on the person on the table, but also on you being able to tap into your best energy, best in the sense of what's needed right now for everybody who's in this space.
Absolutely. Yes. First of all, I think it's such a gift that you bring to people in that time of their lives of passing and such. I have had the honor many times to be in that position, and there's really nothing like that. And when you can bring that groundedness, that sense of love, pure, it does affect the people that are rustling around and having other needs to be met. But it also brings that solidarity from you to that person that really needs just hold this space. So it's a beautiful place to be, and I honor you in that. A couple of things were rolling around when you were speaking of that. In dealing with pain, and in dealing with even my pain of different pains that I experience, but with other people dealing with their pain, if I approach it with, oh my God, there you are in pain, oh my God, or let's see how this can feel. Let's see what we can do to change that. The difference of my energy, the difference of my approach makes all the difference for them. And when I can hold their space of discomfort and distress, it already takes down their level of pain.
Exactly.
It reminds me of when my dog, when she was a little bit younger, when I pulled the leash, she would go crazy, just up and down and barking, and that's unacceptable for me. I can't even hook the leash on your collar. So I brought energy of, we're going out, but not until you can sit. And a lot of people like that energy from the dog and excitement. And I do not. I want the door to be a place where we can just go, hook up, and now we're on our way. Because by having that energy from my dog, it made me anxious. It made me upset. And I'm not going to enjoy a nice day out walking with you if I'm already upset. So receiving it from even a dog makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
And now we know we're going to go out. She comes over and she leans against my leg. I hook her up and off we go. It is such a peaceful transition of going from in to out. So I think that energy is just a ball that we have the opportunity to change how it could be.
Absolutely. Kind of unwinding it backwards from what you shared. When you watch a pack of dogs or wolves in their natural habitat, they don't build each other up to excitement beyond a place that's safe.
Yes.
Safety is a huge baseline value for a dog, a pack of dogs or wolves, and excitement follows a certain protocol, and their hierarchical system assures that the puppies learn how to playfully hunt and engage with other dogs, but there's a limit. The mama dog says, okay, enough. When it comes to a line where it's not in the best interest of the larger group.
Right.
And how wonderful of you to recognize when you have a pet, when you have a dog, you are their pack, they are your pack, and
Absolutely.
You are the pack leader, and they actually look for you to guide them. Okay, what's the mode here? Are we playing and excited and cutting it loose, or are we focused on a job, and walking along a busy road is a job to keep the pack safe.
Yes.
Then unwinding it further, what you shared about welcoming people when they are in pain. How often in our current society is pain numbed?
Mm-hmm.
And as you were talking, I heard welcome the pain. And I don't read it as, welcome the pain, bring it on, the more the merrier. But to acknowledge, this is what I'm experiencing right now, because only by acknowledging can we then shift the energy.
Right.
And how wonderful of you to recognize that my job, this person came to me to get another answer to a challenge that they're facing.
Right.
How can I offer an answer that doesn't overwhelm them, but picks them up where they are right now and
right.
walks with them through their discovery of a new angle, a new solution.
Right.
How beautiful that work that you do.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. It is a joint effort, and when you can help them see that,
yes,
I think that they have their control back.
Exactly.
And once we have the sense that we have the choice, that we can choose this, or we can choose another thing, I think that changes whatever it is.
Yes. When you said the control back, having lived with family members with severe pain experiences and, visiting hospitals frequently with them, there was always the message of, particularly the nurses saying, let's keep on top of the pain so it doesn't run away from us. Uh-huh. And often the patient wrestling with, I can manage. I don't need yet another dose of medication, which is, I don't want to disregard. Everybody has their own choices to make, but I do energetically very much support the idea of acknowledging there is pain. Not pushing it away, not disregarding it, not making it wrong, not dumbing it down. That's the missed point, in my opinion, when it comes to pain. If you disregard it, you're disregarding a messenger knocking on your door. What happens if you disregard a messenger knocking on your door who has an important message? The knocking gets louder. And that's what pain does. And as you recognize, which is so important, that's when we often feel we're losing control, and that's when pain turns into panic.
Yes, indeed.
So instead of having to go into panic mode and fear, exactly, because we don't know what to do and we expect it to get worse, and who wants to go down that road? Right. So how powerful it is to offer a different road, to recognize where there are resources around us, and most importantly, where we internally are our biggest resource of learning to know ourselves, learning to know our pain patterns, past pain patterns, in order to address them differently than we have before.
Right. I think I've talked about my toe when I broke my toe.
Yeah.
And then I broke it again recently.
Oh, yeah.
That the fear wasn't there for me because I knew what to expect, and I knew the pain was going to come and the swelling and all that. I do, with all of my soul, believe that our bodies are our best medicine. Yeah. If we can get our head and our systems aligned.
Yes.
I believe that we are vibration. And I believe that if we can manage the vibration, we have an opportunity to alter it all. I also believe that medicine has a huge part in our healing.
Yes.
I think there's a time when no matter what we do, we can't bring the inflammation down, or we can't mend that broken bone, or other illnesses and injuries that we as humans accumulate. So I think that we all have a part. All of these pieces fit together in our journey of health. And I admire so much that the scientists and doctors of today are recognizing that we have the opportunity to be a team now.
Yeah.
It's not just take this pill. Well, this pill didn't work. We'll take this pill. And I think in my mom's generation, that was the end. He told me to. Yeah. And I think today, with the opportunity to research so much on the internet, is that we find our answers and what's going to work for us.
Yes.
And taking the active role of my caregiver first.
Yes.
I think that helps the team to manage how we're going to approach whatever it is.
Yeah. We've come a long way, and it's encouraging to see when, as a species, we understand better the complexity, and at the same time I want to say the simplicity of life. I'm always amazed when I go on my walks, when you study the different leaves on different trees. The shape is different, the size is different, the texture might change, the position on the tree, on the branches might be different. However, there are building blocks that are repeated in variation. So that's what I mean when I speak of simplicity. Nature is so brilliant in repeating a core concept that works in variation. And I've spent a lot of time in these last few years reflecting on particularly the topic of our physical being and how we manage pain and how we manage illness. And I've read through lots of different sources that where they were questioning how can it be that as we age, our bodies don't seem to be as easily capable to mend. I remember playing as a child and scraping my knee and running to my mom and getting a kiss and a Band-Aid and running off to play some more. And by nightfall, the Band-Aid came off and the scrape was pretty much healed. And now there are times when it has appeared as if things take longer to heal. And one of the sources that that was questioning this was suggesting as a DNA blueprint, the protocol of healing is built into our bodies. Obviously must be, otherwise a child would not be able to heal this quickly. So there must be some brilliant healing built in somewhere. And the source that I was reading, and I don't remember where it was, suggested that as we are exposed to our societal beliefs, every time a new cell replaces an old cell, it is meant to tap in the original coded information how to do that in order to come up with the same quality level as before, rather than being diminished. However, when we listen and are inundated with messages that we age and we have to expect that things are slowing down and we have to expect that things are getting harder and it's as if on the old copiers, when you took an original and you made a copy of the original, and then you made a copy of the copy, and then you made a copy of the copy of the copy, by the end of the time, your piece of paper with the information was blurry and lopsided and hard to read, and that's was the picture given what happens to our system. The original data is still there, but we're making copies of copies of copies, expecting the quality of the end result to become poorer.
Right.
And thus, our system, listening so well to our thought process, creates that physical result.
Right.
And if that theory holds water, how fascinating it would be to ask our bodies to grab the original code rather than the copy of the copy of the copy, to recreate and replenish what has ended its life cycle. And so it's just an interesting thought. If we approached things like a child to expect my knee this morning, but I'll have things to do. I have plays to play, and so by night my body has taken care of what needed to be taken care of without me having to worry over it, and to trust our system intelligence to know what it needs to do, and then to view, okay, what are other resources that are now meaningful to come in addition.
Not interfere with that process, because we get ahead of ourselves in our thoughts and our beliefs.
Yes.
And we interrupt that healing and that knowing.
Yeah.
The process is broken. Yeah. And I believe that it's truly more than just a conscious thought in our healing. I think we have the opportunity to gather the information. And as a kid, we just believed that we would get better. That core belief. I think what happens to us as we grow and we get more information and people tell us more and we experience more and we learn more.
Yeah.
I think that that's what changes that core understanding that we have it.
Yes.
As we did as a little kid. So I think that it's our externalness that interferes with our internalness.
Yes.
And if we can remember that, if we can hold on to that part of us that knows, I think that we can move further, easier to that simplicity of self-healing.
Yeah. And I love that you so eloquently witness here this inner belief, it's not something that we teach little children. They already know that. We unteach it.
Yes,
The
yeah.
belief.
As our external comes
Right.
at us.
But it's innate in there as a knowing. And if we can hold on to that knowing, just imagine what our world will look like.
I think that we do lose it.
Mm-hmm.
We lose complete closeness to it. But I think as we age, our wisdom brings it back.
Yeah.
Our wisdom makes us seek it more often. And, you know, the law of attraction or the positive thoughts. But I think that we're seeking what we had.
Yeah.
So relax about it. It's there.
Yeah.
Open up to it.
I've wondered whenever I was working with somebody who was dealing with dementia, it's definitely a going inward, and some would call it becoming childlike again in many aspects of their external presentation of themselves. And I've wondered, what's the inner process that's happening there? And is it a searching for beliefs we had in childhood, for understandings, for knowings of, I need to get out of this building right now, I need sunshine. You know, how adamant a dementia patient can become when they're not, in quotes, getting what they're wanting. And if it doesn't fit into the system, it can be quite a stressor for everybody involved. And to have the patients as a functioning world around them, functioning, you know, as in taking care of daily business functioning, to be able to listen to that need, not just being a whim of or a defiance or trying to make everybody's life harder, but to understand or the attempt to understand what's the need here and how can that be honored to create what you pointed out was the natural light earlier, this slowing of the breathing and the easing and the relaxing, which is what we wish for ourselves and each other, right?
Right. I would like to speak to that as caregivers, we have a tendency to not be patient, not have the time to understand, not to have the, I guess, the opportunity or the gift to let the person express what they need.
Yes.
That's why I feel that as a coach and as a massage therapist, I come in, I don't have those limiting strategies.
Yeah.
I have the time to sit with you if you want to come up with an idea.
Yeah.
I can wait with you.
Yeah.
But the nurse, the other medical people, they don't have the time. They have this to do and they must get it done, and now they're on their way. So I think with volunteering, I think giving them the opportunity and the space and understanding that we are not in a rush here.
Yeah.
We can wait for you.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a complete gift that we give to people that are struggling to be heard and to slow down.
And I think it honors what you said about it's a team effort, right? It takes a village. The floors need to be cleaned in order for everybody to be safe, and the food has to be prepared to be a life-sustaining setup. But there's also the need to listen to somebody's story or just to hold somebody's hand when they are craving that.
That is so powerful.
Yeah.
I could cry. The energy exchange is such a beautiful experience.
It is. And I think that's the beautiful gift of our consciousness, to witness the beauty of those moments that make it all worth it, right?
Yeah.
They kind of are the red thread that weaves through it all. And um, seeing the time is, we're about half an hour into our talk, so for my end, I want to wrap up with the gift of this beingness as we are giving our bodies the approval to know their wisdom.
Yes.
It actually takes a lot of the unknown and potentially anxiety-inducing thought process, and sets it aside, and to just allow our wisdom to guide us when our mind has no existing protocol to tap into.
Right. The belief that it's there.
Yeah.
I love that.
Would you like to wrap with a thought about our conversation so far today?
My heart is saying thank you for this space, for us to see how we are with other people.
Yes.
The gift of being present and allowing you to be present, how you need to be present.
Yes. I'm now more and more in choice of creating a life that is in allowance of the energy of the moment to almost do the heavy lifting. So to explain this, I shared with you this idea of I see myself more as a collaborative aspect of an energy field I am within, I am a part of, and I can choose to be collaborative or I can choose to resist it. Most of my life I've resisted it, so now I'm exploring what would it look like if I actually allowed that. And I was referring to the natural light that you put into your treatment room, and said it suddenly dawns on me, we can either feel the pressure to be the light, or we can allow the light to carry us. In other words, we can hold the light space for others, which can be a very exhausting endeavor, especially in this field of work, or we can tap into this energy field that already is light and let it flow through us, nourishing us, and the overflow being so rich that everybody else around us is nourished in the same way. So the light holds us instead of us holding the light. And that has enriched, simplified, and beautified my life in so many aspects, where I am now most days, very consciously aware when old patterns of anxiety, depression, anger, frustration, lower frequency energies are trying to intrude. Anything that wants to hurry, I'm very particularly aware of now, because the energy that I'm choosing to hang out in does not require rushing. It requires being present. And that has for me become the one discipline to practice in my life now. It's to be present in the moment so I can tap into the wisdom that goes beyond my singular self. Yes. Perceived singular self.
Yes. Because that outside energy is part of our team.
It is part of our team.
Allow.
And the outside energy is a reflection of components within us that are seeking attention.
Mm-hmm.
So when there is a hurried energy around us, there is something to be noticed about that. But noticing it and so completely throwing ourselves into it are two very different things. So it actually is the same mechanism as you pointed. We talked about acknowledging pain before it runs away from us.
Mm-hmm.
It's this acknowledging and recognizing what's happening that then allows us to have choice rather than feeling out of control.
Right? Yes. Yeah. It's interesting that you say the energy around you. When the energy around me, if somebody's all excited, like the dog, when the dog is all excited, I come right down. I cannot meet that energy.
Yeah.
That is not how I'm going to be able to function happily and safely.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, even in anger or in excitement of, oh my God, look what happened. I just won the lottery. Oh, well, that's nice, but I'm going to sit here until the guy comes, brings the check. So but I can be animated. Don't get me wrong. I can be that energy of ball of energy that I resist.
Yeah, and as an athlete, you recognize the importance of releasing adrenaline that has been building up in your body, right? So right. I witnessed that. For me, I witnessed that in dogs when often they get fidgety and excited in order to release adrenalines that are floating about, often from the people that they are surrounded by, and so they're trying very hard to kind of help their people to release stuck energy. Is often the mechanism. Does that mean it has to escalate? No. I think that's where it's powerful to be in choice and to say, okay, we got that out of our system, now we can calm down and recollect and yeah.
Life is funny. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Then I close the recording with that thought.